Him who angers you conquers you. This old proverb holds more power than most realize, because every time you react, you give something away. Your focus, your peace, your strength. Learning to act as if nothing bothers you isn't about pretending, it's about protecting. It's about understanding that your inner state is sacred ground and not everything deserves a response. In a world that constantly demands your attention, your validation, your reaction, it becomes a rare power to remain unmoved. People will say things, life will throw curveballs, energy will come at you from all angles, but your job isn't to catch every stone thrown your way. Your job is to decide what's worth your hands, your heart, your headspace. Acting as if nothing bothers you doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you don't let every emotion run your life. It means that when someone disrespects you, you don't spiral, you stand. When something doesn't go your way, you don't panic, you pause. And in that pause, you reclaim control. It's easy to yell back. It's easy to post, snap, clap back, defend. That's emotional impulse. But power is in restraint. It's in breathing before speaking. It's in walking away with your dignity instead of fighting for your ego. It's in knowing that not every battle deserves your sword. This mindset doesn't make you weak. It makes you untouchable. Because when nothing shakes your energy, nothing owns you. People will test you just to see how you respond. Don't hand them that satisfaction. Let your calm confuse them. Let your silence speak. Let your presence remind them you are governed by something deeper than noise. Books like The Power of Now and meditations reveal this truth again and again. Peace is a choice, not a reward, not a luxury. Start noticing what you give your energy to. Does every comment online deserve your time? Does every rude driver deserve your anger? Does every rejection deserve your self-worth? Or can you see it all, feel it all, and still move with calm, with grace, with purpose? That's the real flex, not being unaffected, but being unshaken. So next time you feel provoked, just pause. Just smile inwardly, just breathe it. Because every time you act as if nothing bothers you, you're not pretending, you're practicing sovereignty. And the more you practice, the more you train your nervous system to prioritize peace over panic, power over pettiness, growth over reaction. The world doesn't need more people who react to everything. It needs more people who rise above. People who hold their energy. People who stay grounded when others lose their footing. People who have mastered themselves enough to be still when the world gets loud. You can be that person, not by being perfect, but by being intentional, by remembering that your energy is your responsibility, and that acting as if nothing bothers you isn't faking, it's choosing. Choosing to be free, choosing to protect your peace, choosing to move through life with the quiet strength of someone who knows exactly who they are. Emotional mastery begins with restraint, not reaction. That's the truth many people never learn because we've been conditioned to believe that strength is loud, reactive, immediate. From a young age, we're taught that having the last word means you won, that raising your voice means you were right, that reacting quickly means you're emotionally engaged. But none of that builds power, it builds chaos. The real strength is stillness. It's having the emotion rise inside of you, the anger, the frustration, the fear, and choosing not to be controlled by it. It's not about pretending those emotions don't exist. It's about feeling them fully and deciding what they deserve. Does every insult deserve your energy? Does every disagreement require your voice? Or is your peace worth more than your pride? The world will provoke you. People will misunderstand you, challenge you, test your patience. And in those moments, your first impulse might be to fight, to yell, to prove. But emotional mastery isn't about the first impulse. It's about the second thought, the one that pauses, the one that sees the bigger picture, the one that asks, what am I really trying to protect here, my ego or my peace? You don't need to react to be powerful. In fact, your reaction is often what others are seeking. When you lash out, they win. When you engage in pettiness, they pull you down. But when you respond with silence, calm, or even a smile, you've risen above the game. You've made it clear, I won't play by your rules. I've made my own. Consider this. Fire needs oxygen to grow. The same is true of drama, conflict, emotional chaos. It feeds off your reactions. Starve it. Let your silence suffocate the nonsense. Let your restraint build the boundary. That is emotional maturity. That is real discipline. It's easy to be reactive. It requires no control, no intention. You simply let emotion lead the way. But restraint, that requires presence. It means staying connected to your values even when you feel violated. It means remembering who you are when someone tries to provoke who you used to be. And this doesn't mean you never speak up. It doesn't mean you become a doormat. It means you become deliberate. You choose when to speak, how to speak, and whether it's even worth speaking at all. You begin to conserve your emotional energy like currency, spending it only where it will make a difference. And here's what you'll notice when you begin to live this way. You feel lighter, stronger, more in control. Your peace no longer hangs on the behavior of others. Your days are no longer dictated by someone else's mood. You realize that true freedom isn't in controlling what others do, it's in controlling how you respond. That's where your power lives, in the pause, in the breath between feeling and reacting, in the moment where you realize, I don't have to give this my energy. I can keep my power right here with me. And that's when you stop being a victim of the world and start becoming the architect of your inner world. That's when people feel your energy shift, not because you shouted, but because you didn't need to. Not because you fought back, but because you stood so still, they realized nothing they did could shake you. Emotional mastery is restraint. It is the art of being so in tune with yourself that no one else can pull you off center. It's not just powerful, it's rare. And the rarer it is, the more you stand out. Not by doing more, but by needing less. Less drama, less approval, less reaction, more peace, more clarity, more power. Detachment is not indifference. It's inner freedom. It's one of the most misunderstood concepts in personal growth and emotional intelligence. People often assume that to detach is to stop caring, to become cold, to withdraw. But real detachment doesn't strip away your heart. It strengthens your center. It doesn't make you numb. It makes you clear. Indifference is the absence of feeling. It's apathy. It says, I don't care, nothing matters. But detachment is the opposite. It says, I care deeply, but when you are truly detached, you become unshakable, not because life stops moving, but because you stop clinging to everything that moves. You begin to observe rather than absorb. You stop gripping outcomes so tightly that they choke your peace. You understand that not everything requires your intervention, your validation, your constant emotional investment. Think about how much of your anxiety comes from attachment. Attachment to how people see you, to how plans unfold, to how quickly something happens, or whether someone chooses to stay in your life. That kind of attachment keeps you in a state of constant emotional exhaustion because you're not just living, you're managing, controlling, adjusting, reacting. Your joy becomes conditional. Your peace is rented, not owned. But when you embrace detachment, everything shifts. You still love, but you stop trying to own. You still work hard, but you let go of the obsession with results. You still care, but you no longer beg for reciprocation or attention or approval. You start doing what's right, not what gets noticed. You start acting from integrity, not insecurity. Detachment allows you to breathe. It allows you to walk away when something disturbs your peace. It gives you the strength to say, this no longer aligns with who I am, without bitterness, without blame. That's not indifference, it's wisdom. That's not avoidance, it's clarity. When you're detached, you finally start to experience life as it is, not as you wish it would be. You begin to release the illusion that you need everything to go your way in order to be okay. And in that release, you gain power. Because you are no longer a hostage to outcomes. You're no longer at the mercy of other people's choices or external situations. You become rooted regardless of the storm. And here's the truth that will free you. What's meant for you won't require force. It won't require you to lose yourself to keep it. When you are detached, you allow space for the right things to find you, the right people, the right opportunities, the right timing. You stop pushing, you start attracting. You stop chasing, you start choosing. Detachment is emotional discipline. It doesn't remove the beauty of connection, it refines it. It protects your peace while keeping your heart open. It helps you step back without shutting down. It allows you to stand in your power and say, I release the need to control this and I trust myself to respond with wisdom no matter what happens next. And what's more powerful than that? To walk through the world without fear of losing what was never yours to begin with. To show up every day fully engaged, fully present, and yet fully at peace with whatever outcome may unfold. That is not weakness, that is mastery, that is what it means to live from the inside out. You don't detach to escape reality. You detach so you can move through it with clarity and grace. You detach not because you don't care, but because you care too much to let chaos run your life. Detachment is the doorway to freedom, and once you walk through it, you don't lose anything worth keeping. You only lose what was weighing you down. The strength lies in choosing what gets your energy, not in reacting to everything. This is a lesson many learn the hard way through burnout, heartbreak, and the slow erosion of peace. But the truth is simple and powerful. Not everything deserves your attention, and certainly not everything deserves your reaction. There's a deep kind of wisdom in restraint, the kind of strength that doesn't roar, it whispers. It's the ability to stand still when the world tries to provoke you, to remain calm when someone is pushing every emotional button you have, to smile when your ego wants to shout, to walk away not because you're weak, but because you've outgrown the need to fight battles that lead nowhere. We live in a time where reaction is constant. Notifications, headlines, opinions, drama, it's all engineered to pull you into urgency and noise. And every time you react, you give away a piece of your focus, your peace, your power. Eventually, you wake up scattered and exhausted, not because life is too much, but because you've allowed too much of life to invade your mental space without boundaries. But when you choose what gets your energy, everything changes. You stop being a servant to chaos and become a steward of your clarity. You realize that silence is an answer, that not replying is a reply, that ignoring is a form of protection. You begin to ask yourself, does this need my energy? Is this worthy of my attention, or is it simply bait for my peace? This isn't about being passive. It's about being intentional. You become someone who doesn't waste time proving your worth to people who don't even value themselves. Someone who doesn't chase explanations or arguments that drain the soul. Someone who knows that real strength is quiet, grounded, and unbothered by noise that doesn't align with their purpose. You also begin to understand that your energy is currency. It's the most precious thing you have. What you give it to grows. If you constantly feed conflict, conflict grows. If you obsess over what's wrong, suffering grows. But if you nourish focus, gratitude, discipline, and stillness, those things grow. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to the energy you sustain. And so you learn to conserve that energy. You learn to pause before reacting. You take the time to breathe, to observe, to step back, because you know that one moment of silence can save you hours of regret. You stop allowing people's projections to become your reality. You stop feeling the need to explain yourself to every person who misunderstands you. You stop being pulled in 100 directions, and you start moving with quiet, intentional power. This level of self-control doesn't come from arrogance, it comes from maturity. You realize you don't need to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't need to validate every opinion. You don't need to fix every misunderstanding. Peace becomes your priority. Focus becomes your compass, and you start protecting your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. When you master the art of choosing what gets your energy, you start to attract more of what aligns with your highest self. You no longer feel drained by every little thing. You stop being manipulated by guilt or urgency. You stop giving life to things that don't support your growth. This is where your real strength is built, not in how loudly you speak, but in how calmly you stand, not in how quickly you react, but in how wisely you respond, not in how much you fight, but in how well you protect your peace. The strongest person in the room isn't the one with the last word. It's the one who has nothing to prove and everything to preserve. So choose carefully. Protect your energy. Not everything deserves access to your light. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table, and not every disturbance needs your engagement. Your strength is sacred. Guard it with intention. Let the noise pass. Let the chaos burn itself out. You remain still, focused, and aligned, because that's what strength really looks like.